Welcome to another very special adventure into reality where we call the CV thing. Because if I mention it's real world, this video will get demonetized and probably get kicked because that's how far YouTube has gone. So we shall call it the unnameable nameable virus. Welcome, everyone. Come on in. World is going crazy. I told you. I told you. I told you. So we have seen a stock market take a shit. We have seen the banksters try to create it with their black money magic, and it hasn't worked. They brought in helicopterfuls of money to the banks. That didn't work. And now they got to start paying attention to people and their lives. Oh no. Actual people paying attention to this. So I am open to talking about coronavirus. Oh no, I just got demonetized because I said the word. Oh no, the unnameable virus. So exactly, and we've had a couple of videos that were taken down because it had CV in the title. So Robert, let's just open up the wheel of callers here. I'll tell everyone to raise their hands if they want to talk about coronavirus right now, what's going on in the world, how to be prepared. Reach on down there, hit that participant button and go raise thy hand.
Okay, Christy, you are unmuted with Andrew.
Hello, Christy. How you doing?
Hi, I'm well, thanks. And you?
I'm doing pretty good. Where are you calling from today?
Vancouver, BC, Canada.
Vancouver, BC, Canada. You guys are starting to get a pretty big outbreak of the unnameable virus there too.
Right? Yes, we are. And my daughter is just now in Latin America, and she's trying to make her way home.
What part of Latin America?
She's in Honduras.
Ooh.
Yeah, they closed down El Salvador just recently, and we've changed her itinerary from going through Mexico City to Vancouver, from San Pedro Sula to Roatan to Toronto.
Wow.
And then they just closed the schools, all the schools in Ontario.
Yep.
So, but she's got a 12-hour stopover in Toronto, and then she's coming home to Vancouver.
Well, hopefully they won't put her on a 2-week quarantine, but it pretty much looks like anyone out in Canada outside coming in is going to be put on a 2-week quarantine.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. You know what I heard on the news last evening was that they are saying, if you have cold or flu-like symptoms, and we're coming into allergy season.
Mm-hmm.
And people are having having allergy reactions to the dust that's building up in their homes because, it's still cold here.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still in flu season as well. So it's like, oh man. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to.
How are you dealing with the fear?
It's a little sickening to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I've purchased some alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and some witch hazel, and we made our own hand sanitizer because you can't find hand sanitizer anymore.
Nope. We're out of toilet paper where we're at. All the Costco's completely out of it.
Oh my golly! Do you want me to send you some of our little towel wipes?
No, I was smart in January when this started hitting down. I went and bought 236 rolls, and then I went and bought another one a week ago. So I have, 124 rolls.
Nice.
I'm set.
Double rolls. Yes, that's the way to go. Costco in the Lower Mainland also no toilet paper whatsoever as of 3 or 4 days ago. Because I just been kind of watching, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
What I did is I decided to go not just 2 weeks. I always have 2 weeks of stuff in my cupboards, just the way I was brought up. I decided to go for 6 weeks of everything, which is basically non-perishable goods, which is varieties of canned goods that I would actually eat. Because a lot of people buy stuff that they'd only eat if they're starving to death. I actually bought stuff that I'd eat, and then I bought a bunch of extra soup bones to cook for soup.
Yes.
That can stay good for quite some time.
Right.
And I stocked up on the oils, the vinegars, the other
Mm-hmm.
stuffs, and then the rices, the flours, as I make my own bread, stuff like
Right.
that, and a couple extra canisters of propane so I could cook on a grill if there's ever no power.
If need be.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And right now there is a healthy need of preparation.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not paranoia. The talking heads in the news wouldn't be squawking about this if it wasn't real. You can't you compare this to SARS, all the other ones. It's the news is 10,000 times worse, compacted and compounded by a stock market that's vomiting and puking itself up because it's been oversold for more than a decade. Okay, we've only just begun to see the stock market finish its purge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So sometime by the end of the month, the stock market will probably be down to in the 13,000 range, which has lost 50% of its value, 50 to 55% of its total value.
Whoa.
Right. And that means the rest of the world's going to have to come to what's called parity. But at the same time, Russia and Saudi Arabia are in a full-on oil war to destroy all the shale oil companies, everything. All the competition is attempting to be destroyed. So it's pure economic and political greed going on at the same time during this gigantic outbreak that no one can stop. Example, here in the United States, we've only have 75,000 test kits. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, there's
and
a
we've
limited
only,
number in Canada as well.
They've only tested 5,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
5,000.
You know, what I'm wondering is like how, you know, if it's they're basing symptoms on cold and flu, like, you know, that, you know, be tested or whatever. But, you know, what about people with allergies, you know?
Well,
Because I mean, you could have an allergy flare up on the planes.
Right. And then they'll quarantine you for allergies.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, that's what I said to my daughter. I said, you need to go to the pharmacy like right now and go and get some allergy pills because your allergies are going to flare up.
Yeah,
you know, and it's like, I know that I'm already vigilant about our health anyway, you know, about, I mean, I taught my children, I raised them, wash your hands when you come in, you know, don't be running all around, touching your face, you know, their auntie taught them that and said, you know, hey, you know, I mean, what was that, 10 years ago, you know, with SARS and that, and then, you know, because, people would, like, it was just all this antibacterial when that like blew right up, you know, and everybody was going crazy over antibacterial this, antibacterial
the thing
that.
is, that will only stop so much.
Right.
Example, if anybody in your household gets it, everyone in the household is going to get it. You can't quarantine somebody in their room. Okay? It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Eventually, they got to go to the bathroom. Eventually, they got to get food. You can't just stick it under the door.
Right.
And then, you know, once their room gets saturated with bacteria, then what? Viral load, then what? Okay.
Yeah. And we share a house as well. So the furnace ducts are shared. So I'm just wondering about that, like the other people in the other part of the house. It's like, we share the air.
That's right. Because the thing is, cleanliness and hygiene will only go so far to stop something that if it's through contact. We already know that this virus is spread via air, contact, feces, and urine. And the fecal contact and urine contact, you don't realize, can be shared through the pipes. Okay? Gets into your groundwater. Pow!
Ew.
Ew.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yes.
Oh my golly.
Okay. So there's a whole bunch of things that the mainstream news, because of uneducated idiocracy running the mediocrity masses that are in conformity, they're stuck. And all they can do is tell what's being said. If you're in a room, let's say a 20-foot by 20-foot room with 10 people in the room, and one person with the unnameable walks in and stays there for 10 minutes, how many people do you think will get infected?
Do you think that even applies to people that are actually healthy?
Yes, doesn't matter.
Really?
It's a novel virus, meaning no one has antibodies to it.
I don't like that, like it's like, oh,
Half the room will be infected.
yes.
Now, if it sticks, that's the other part. Okay.
And then
There
they're
are
going to
many
be going
people,
home and carrying it around to wherever they go.
right? Because of the person that's coming in that tests positive for it, their blood, their viral loads are through the roof compared to normal sicknesses or other sicknesses that are really nasty, nasty sicknesses. Their viral loads are like 20 times the levels of all the other sicknesses. So you could have it, have no symptoms whatsoever, and still spread it.
Oh yeah, I was looking at Andrea Basilio is saying about oil of oregano. We have
Nope,
that as well.
it's not going to stop it.
Not going to help.
Not going to help it at all.
Marseille's
Period.
remedy.
The only
Thieves'
thing that's
oil.
the only thing that's going to help you are things that are going to actually prevent pneumonia. The sickness itself, 80% of the people that get it, it's like a really mild or bad flu, but they're super infectious. Those 20% remaining require hospitalization from complications of pneumonia. Okay, well, as soon as you get pneumonia, you go to the hospital, right?
Yes.
Because the only thing you can do is take potassium, which owes only a limited stay off, and doing the nebulizers that may have some oil of oregano in it or some of those other things, which are going to take care of other stuff, but not going to stop it because the virus is propagated in your blood.
Propagated in your blood.
That's how they get a huge viral load. Okay.
Gee.
So Irene, taking a bunch of supplements for 2 weeks, that's not going to do anything, honestly. In all reality, right now, social distancing, hand washing, cleanliness, and a true awareness of being prepared for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Colleen, MMS is not going to do anything whatsoever to stopping pneumonia. Once it's in your lungs, it creates a lung scarring. Nanosilver won't do jack shit either. Period. Okay? It may reduce your capacity to have some of the virus in your blood, but it's not going to outdo the viral load. You could drink a whole bottle of nanosilver every day and then get nanosilver poisoning. Same thing with double helix. You have to understand the nature of this virus. There is no homeopathic or naturopathic remedy that's not combined with a bunch of other things that stop the pneumonia from scarring the lungs.
If I remember correctly, you
Your
mentioned
environment, social distancing.
Right. I remember you mentioned about oxygen tanks, the hyperbaric chambers.
So the problem with hyperbaric chambers is you have put one infected person in. How do you clean it? Oxygen you do naturally because that's what stops a person from pneumonia dying. As soon as your blood oxygen levels reach 90%, 89%, you're going to go into renal failure. So you need an oxygen that's 90%, 89, 90, 95% pure oxygen mix coming into your nasal passage or your throat.
Okay, so what about food grade hydrogen peroxide in a mist?
I wouldn't do that. The chance of burning your lungs can be severe. Those are all emergency things, and some of those things are done to treat pneumonias, but this is not an upper lung scenario. It's a lower lung scenario.
So that's deeper.
Yes, it's a deep lung scenario. So nebulizers only go so deep, and because most people can't breathe mist all the way deep into their lungs without coughing it out. The thing is, once it's in your lungs and once it's created a patch inside your lungs, that is where you have to have the lung drained. And there's specific things to treat pneumonia that only can be done in hospitals. This is why this sickness is killing everyone. It's the sickness itself. Many people survive it. It's once you get to that situation where you have pneumonia, you need to be in ICU care. And that's what's overwhelming hospitals.
Right.
And Irene, yes, a built-up immune system gives you a higher chance of beating it, but that doesn't stop you from being a carrier.
Right.
So environmental control. So, Christy, one more thing
Um,
here.
Yes.
What can you do for yourself and your family members that you haven't done yet?
Well, I'm keeping us on healthy foods, fresh foods as much as we can, and
What about when fresh food runs out?
um, lots of good water, tea. We have like some boosting tea here.
Okay.
What else can I do?
De-stress them.
Yes.
When the body is stressed and you're in fear, you lower your immune system.
Right.
Figure out ways to create de-stressing environments. And it won't be throwing up of 5 things of sage and doing all the serious prayers. Be gone, coronavirus from the house.
Well, today after we're done, you're done here on Zoom, I'm going to do a cedar bough cleanse, like a pot of cedar boughs and water, just to clear the air in our home.
That's a good thing.
And then put the water at the house and at the corners of the property, and say some prayers and set some good intentions.
So ozone generators can limit some of the spread if somebody is sick and is spreading the viral load, but again, it can only do so much. So those air filters that have ozone generators in it can help clear out some of the nastiness in the air.
Right.
Okay.
Ozone generator.
Which you can go and get those anywhere. And then
you
start
you said something about that for the ones from the aquarium, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
So you could also start putting a lot of excess prayers into a bottle of spray water, and beginning using that as a way to create a belief shield. Okay. And creating a ritual where, you put a few hours of prayer into that bottle, and as the craziness starts to come, you use that prayed water to cover your computer and clean your computer, some of the other surfaces that you normally have to do deep thinking in.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So that's very good. Thank you. I have here a bottle of 100 proof vodka.
Okay.
Okay. So I didn't make this vodka. I purchased it at the liquor store. And I was thinking, okay, I remember that you said that it's made of spirits, right?
Yep.
So what can I do for it or to it to not have all those spirits just run amok? We're not going to consume it. I was going to use it to make antibacterial in the case that we ran out of our rubbing alcohol.
100 proof is not enough first.
It's not enough?
That's not
well,
enough.
That's all I have.
No, not enough.
I looked in the liquor store for other ones, but this was the one that I could find as like 50%.
You're just at a liquor store that's probably only allowed to serve that level. Okay. Yeah, you need stuff that's like the 150 plus proof.
150 plus proof.
Or 190 proof, right?
So
something you can actually light on. Something you could actually light on fire.
Light on fire.
Right. That's something, the same type of thing you could use to emergency clean a wound, stuff like that.
This what I have now?
No, what you have, it won't light on fire.
Oh, before. I mean, the other one.
Yeah, what you have right now won't light on fire. If it does, it's like minor of a second because it's just too much water in it.
Oh.
Okay. What they do is they water it down, or when they distill it, they only distilled it enough to make it a lower process. There are plenty of alcohols out there that will still have fire to them. I think it's 150 or 140 proof, and if it's a triple distilled, it might be even 120 proof.
Ah, I see. Okay.
And Joyce, the 151 is still out here. I just bought some the other day.
The 151 rum?
Yeah.
So they offered 56%.
That's not high enough either.
Yeah.
That's alcohol by volume, yeah.
So I will have to look on the liquor store website to see what they have.
You just have to
covered.
ask if your liquor store sells the higher grade stuff or not. Is a lot of liquor licenses are based off of the grade in which you sell.
Yeah, this was a BC liquor store, like a government liquor store. So
Right. I think you have
perhaps,
two levels to them probably.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So a bigger one, maybe the distribution branch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they would have it because they got like this big, huge place somewhere over by
Yes.
Broadway.
Well, thanks so much for calling.
Yeah.
I'm going to move on to someone else. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Awesome. Thanks for taking
You're,
me. All
you're
right. You take
welcome.
care, eh?
Yeah, I will. All right.
Thank you.
All right,
Bye.
Robert, let's spin up the wheel of unnameable virus callers and see who wants to talk about the unnameable virus.
Alrighty, Clo. This looks like a virus in Clo 23. You're unmuted with Andrew.
Clo 23, are you there?
Okay.
Okay, welcome to the show. What's going on with you and coronavirus? How are you dealing with it?
I'm just not even paying any mind to it, honestly.
Why?
Because to me, I just feel like it's something that they're placing in the air to like get people to be afraid, and I don't know.
You should be afraid. It's about to be a global thing that's going to affect everyone.
I don't know. I think I've been afraid most of my life. So it's funny because I'm like trying to step out of that. And that's what I've been working on, is like getting rid of fear mongering in my life.
Mm-hmm. I get that part, but this is one of those things you have to have a healthy fear for, because in a matter of, crossing streets, being in a room with one person, you could have a sickness that could disable you for life, kill you too.
Yeah.
And half the people that you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been, but I haven't been just like not doing anything. I mean, I've been doing for myself and like yoga and meditating. And I honestly have, stepped into my faith and have been going, reading the Bible. I've repented and surrendered to God. And I know that I'm part of his plan, and this is all part of his plan.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trusting, not to say like, I just trust God and like whatever, because that's how I was. Now I'm not. Now I'm actually with God and know that I'm with him for eternity, which means whatever means what's going to happen, my soul and my spirit's going on. I have a YouTube channel, and I've not necessarily talked about the coronavirus, but just kind of introduced that kind of stuff to friends and family. And unfortunately, my friends and family have kind of like shut the door on me. So I'm only, I'm still praying for all of them, and for them to, whatever they need in these times and moments. I mean, I've done nothing but try to be around my friends and family. So, but who I am with is my son, and I'm just taking care of us too, and just really just trying to, I definitely think like, if I'm meant to be inside, like that's what's going to happen, which means I just get to work on things for myself. Sorry, I'm just rambling. Sorry, wasn't expecting you to pick me.
So something to understand here, whatever evolutions your faith has gone through here, your faith is going to be tested, and everyone else's faith in the world is about to be tested in a very unique way that no modern or ancient person that's living right now has ever seen. The last time anything like this seriously happened was the Spanish flu in 1915 to 1917, or 1915 to 1919. No one's experienced it that has common memories of it. And they had no modern medicine that we have today. They have no internet. They have no, real things. Cars were barely a thing then.
Yeah.
They didn't have roads. They didn't have street lights.
Yeah, I actually work for a pharmacy benefit manager. So it's I don't want to say it's funny, but kind of funny. I worked in a huge office in San Diego, and just a year ago, they moved us all to work at home.
Mm-hmm. You're lucky. You're lucky. You're lucky.
Yeah, that's kind of on the inside, I guess, in a way, without them telling us straight to our face. But yeah, I mean, I battle with mental health, So I've been locked inside I've been shut out from the world for a whole year already. It was almost like I was like a test subject, I guess. Like it felt that way. So that's why I say, like, I feel like I've been living in fear, and I'm trying to break away. Sorry, I'm in a store.
It's okay.
I'm trying to break away from that. But also, yes, like being logical about it as well. So like I've been praying over my water and food, and, trusting that it'll provide everything I need to get me whatever here now in the moment and in the future. And just constantly, continuously praying throughout the day. My source and what I subscribe to is God, and that could be anything for anyone. It could be the universe. It could be just faith, hope, love. It could be whatever you feel created you or you came from. Just pray to that and trust in that and follow that. And especially if everyone's gonna be inside, it's like the perfect time.
Perfect time for people to start practicing ritual, ceremony,
yes.
and an expression of spiritual hygiene.
Yeah, like I love crystal. I just did Reiki healing this morning also. It's little things like people are afraid of so much. Like they're not just afraid of this disorder. They're afraid of a lot of things. Like my family thinks I'm crazy for loving crystals and reading oracle cards or anything that I tend to believe in. And it's like, why, if this is something that was created, all things that are created are good. And I believe that it's going to provide something for me, just like I would believe a human is going to provide something for me.
Exactly.
So yeah, I definitely agree. It's a good time for everyone to be in what they think is their safe space, which is their homes with whoever their loved ones, and honestly bond and be with each other. I wanted that, but my family's doing their own thing.
Some people just can't do it. And if it takes the coronavirus for people to forgive, then so be it.
Exactly. See, there you go.
If it takes the coronavirus, so be it. Have you done any preparations? You bought any extra food?
I did yesterday, and honestly, I went grocery shopping a while ago, and I went fasting, and my food is still okay. So we're pretty good. It is just two of us. It's just me and my son, so we're good. We are stocked up on somebody told me Walmart was running out of toilet paper. I was like, what? That's crazy.
Costco where I'm at's out of toilet paper. So if wherever you see toilet paper, you're gonna want to get it. You are in San Diego, and quite possibly.
I went to Costco, and I'm stocked up on that. Yeah.
All the big cities. Listen, all the big cities are probably looking at a 6-week lockdown.
It's a matter of
if it starts before the 23rd of March or after the 23rd of March.
It reminds me of back in 2011, 2012 out here. I don't know if it happened everywhere else, but out here in San Diego, can you wait, please? We had a blackout, and it lasted maybe a day or two, if it even two. And I feel like it just kind of feels like that in a way. That wasn't even that long, and I know that's probably going to be longer. But to be quite honest, everybody kind of needs it.
The thing is, this is going to stick around for 6 to 10 months. It's not going away. It's not going away anytime soon. 6 to 10 months, we're going to be dealing with on and off quarantines throughout all the major cities in the world.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I believe it. I don't not believe it. That's why I say I just feel like me not paying attention. I don't know. It's hard. I don't have social media.
Good. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Yeah, and I feel like what's meant that makes it more whatever I'm meant to know and what's important, I take that seriously. If it makes it my way, then yes, take it seriously. And that's why I'm well prepared to be in my home if need be. and that so be it. And I mean, just tuning in with what's important and preparing for, okay, well, if it's going to be 6 to 10 months, what are we all going to do afterwards? It's almost like, let's rebuild ourselves so we can rebuild everything, a new system. I mean, that'd be
the
totally
goal.
awesome.
That's the goal. Enough faith will be lost in the government. Enough global narrative will be cracked. The global media narrative will be cracked that people will have some new choices on the other end of this.
Right.
Nothing changed after the 2008 economic scandal. Nothing changed in 2014 to 2015. Nothing's changed. And now a pandemic,
Yeah.
they're enforcing a change.
Yeah, it's almost like, oh, I just watched that movie, which I've watched all the Jumanjis, but I've never watched the Zathura one. But when I watched it, it was just like, wow, like the creator, whoever went to the extent of like showing this brother, like, okay, I'll make extreme events happen just to get you to pay attention to your brother. And like, I feel like that's what's happening. Like, yeah, like I'll make an extreme event happen to all these people just to get them to get in touch with themselves and then other people around them. And then the place that they live in, like, honestly, I've lived in San Diego for 26 years and I have never lived life or seen the world around me the way that I have this past 2 to 3 weeks, because I was so wrapped up in my own world. Like I thought I was the center of the world. But no.
No, quickly does the human learn you're not the center of the world. You're the creator of your own reality. Big difference.
Yes, that
big
is big
difference.
And a great difference. I like it. So hopefully other people can be inspired, to do that as well.
Yes. Well, thanks for calling. I'm going to move on to the next caller.
Yeah, thanks for choosing me, guys, and I'll continue to listen. Have a good one, Andrew.
Okay, I will.
Bye.
All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of viral callers and see who is next.
Okay, Santo, you are unmuted with Andrew.
Santo, are you there?
I'm here. Andrew, how are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, just counting my toilet rolls.
You got enough?
Andrew, crazy times. Tell you what.
Shit, yeah, crazy mofo times. Okay.
Well,
did I call it 2012 and said it would be like a Three Stooges event?
Yep. Yep, I got the popcorn as well.
We all got the eye poke today.
Exactly. But the interesting thing is, Andrew, it's kind of weird because it is real as well, like you say. I was just getting some texts from one of my daughters who's a midwife and fairly heavily involved in the health industry. And even though there's that level head, there's that what the hell is going on, and sometimes a little bit too much science can tip someone into a state of fear that doesn't actually help them be balanced and do balanced research. Even though they're taking the practical precautions, they still kind of have this layer of fear and what's happening and what's going on. And all the research in the world is not going to help that state.
Yeah. Nor will any conspiracy theory cure, alter, destroy, or remove this from the world.
Exactly. But
conspiracy theory and research will do nothing to stop it from spreading. Only you and the actual social distancing techniques that you do are going to work.
Yeah. So even all of the understandings and research, like, are you familiar with that event 201 that happened towards the end of last year? Yeah. So it creates this kind of interesting, well, is it a chicken and egg? Who's creating what?
Well, the chicken and the egg are the chicken and the egg are the creators of their own reality. So both are the answer.
But at that level of timeline manipulation, do you see it as some sort of success when you can impose to this level a degree of reality change that you have no choice but to follow? Because if the economy collapses, and
that's the nature of forced evolution, is it? Conform. Right. conform, or what? Consequence XYZ. So exactly. In the chat room, why can't I just pray it out? Why can't I do this out? Tell that to the Mesoamericans when they got given smallpox. Did that stop it? No one's chatting
Yeah.
now about it. Okay. There are some things that are true karmic retribution that is both positive and negative. This virus is here to stay. Are there people that will be able to pray it out of their bubble of reality? Yes, there will be, but not everyone. And what's going to make one person different than the other? Karma, karma, karma. It's not about how much good you've done in this lifetime. It's the totality of what you are as a being.
So that inner knowing of who you are at this moment in time is going to seems to be that it'll go a long way towards knowing where your compass is actually pointing, and the ability to be able to just go within and observe without being woo-woo or religious about it.
Or overly scientific.
Yeah. And it's something that calls on, I don't know, it's kind of like you can't isolate yourself completely, but you can be practical, but you want to be able to still socialize, be with family, friends.
Right.
It's the point of conversation and the triggers that maybe, those points that trigger people, and having the discernment to allow people to express their reality and to be who they choose to be, without making a situation escalate into this a negative outcome. So many social scenarios now can be quite awkward because it's like the elephant in the room, but once it gets started, it's a bit like when people would talk about sex 40 years ago. It'd turn into some sort of very difficult, awkward conversation. Okay.
Now we can't understand what you're saying. Let's come back to maybe your computer. It'll clear up. All right, Robert. Let's move on to the next caller who wants to talk about the unnameable virus. Even though I've mentioned it like 10 times in here and demonetized this video already. Yes, and so it begins the great toilet paper shortage of 2020.
Okay, Veseline, you're unmuted with Andrew.
Veseline, are you there?
Hi. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Where are you calling from today?
Hi, I'm calling from Serbia.
Serbia, welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about today with the coronavirus?
Well, we have 25 people confirmed infected, but we have no deaths so far. Our government saying that the worst is probably past us. Not sure how true that is. And they say if we maintain this in 1 week, that it's not going to be a big deal.
Have they closed the borders and done mass testing?
Yes, they have closed the borders and they're doing mass testing.
Well, that's the most important thing. Okay, that means that you have a chance. Unfortunately, this virus is going to come back. All viruses have a second round and a third round. Just because you dodge the bullet on the first round doesn't mean you're going to dodge it in the second round. The most dangerous thing going on right now, because America is not testing and Canada isn't testing and Mexico isn't testing, guess what? The rest of the world will get over it, and then we're going to reinfect the whole world. That's the nature of a pandemic.
I watched the news today, and they say in China, they say the infection rate has dropped by 99%. And it's basically over.
Who?
China says.
No, they're lying.
Oh, well.
They're totally lying. Totally lying. You look at the percentage of people back at work, their electrical power consumptions, their roads and the traffic on the roads. No, they're 100% lying.
Well,
it's not over yet there.
Well,
it's under control, but it's not over. Under control and over are vastly different scenarios.
Another thing is all the Chinese stores in the country went bankrupt.
A good portion, like 40% of the Chinese companies are bankrupt, and the Chinese Central Communist Party has to figure out what they're going to do to reopen those corporations and small businesses. And the same thing's going to happen to the rest of the world. What do you think all the local stores, mom and pop stores, or medium-sized stores with 20, 30 employees in strip malls in Italy are going to do? They got to reopen somehow. If they employ 20 people, that's a pretty significant, producing business. All those businesses are going to need to be bailed out. Who's going to pay the paychecks? So the biggest thing was back in February 23rd, when it really started going skyrocketing in China, they gave an estimation of how many companies only had 30 days of cash to operate, 90 days of cash, and 120 days. Of the companies in China, 60% of the companies only had 30 days of cash, period. Okay? 60% of Chinese businesses are in a situation where they have no cash left to pay their employees, period. So if there are any form of organized unions that had got contract and labor, et cetera, they're done without complete and total bailout from the Chinese actual government. That's called a depression, not a recession. Okay? The same thing's going to happen to all the other countries that don't have a fiscal plan that is based on helping the individual human and not the economy. Because what's good for the economy is not good for human beings. And what's good for human beings is not good for the economy. Two separate forces that don't work together, even though they pretend that they're going to. So feel good that your mass testing, feel very good, but it's not going to stop the outbreak. Your area may not severely suffer it, but if it gets really bad in Germany, it gets really bad in Austria, or really bad in other places, people are going to start fleeing the country, and they're going to bring it with them. It's the nature of humans and in fear.
Today, my mom bought me a bunch of antiseptic, antibacterial stuff.
Use it. Cleanliness, hand washing, and social distancing are going to be the most effective tools for you preventing yourself from being exposed to this virus. Okay? Spiritual hygiene will be one of those things that keeps you out of fear and generating your own life force.
I have no idea how to do spiritual hygiene whatsoever.
Well, I've got a bunch of contract revocations on the front page of my webpage under the Insight tabs. Those are all there to be used as examples, as forms of spiritual hygiene.
Yeah, I tried your revocations a couple of times. I got really bad dreams from it.
Well, then you should be doing them more. It's not the revocations that are creating the bad dreams. It's something in your reality that's being purged out of it. And you're being made aware that you have a lot of abuse energy going on around you.
I wouldn't know where that abuse energy would come from.
Other lifetimes keeping you suppressed and denied. And by you reclaiming your sovereign authority to be you and 100% you without giving away your power and tacit consent.
Interesting thing. When I sleep, I have a theme lately that I'm approaching a sink, a tap water, and when I release the tap water, filth comes out from the tap.
That's representing something around you, some very negative energies that you got to start clearing it out. That's why spiritual hygiene is important. That's why the contract revocations are important. That dream's a prophetic dream, that there's some very negative, nasty energies around you. Okay. All right, brother, I got to let you go and move on to my next caller. Thanks so much for coming.
Okay, bye.
Okay. All right, Robert, let's spin up that wheel of viral callers and see who is next.
All righty. Paul, you are unmuted with Andrew.
Paul, are you?
Hi, Andrew. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Where are you calling from today?
I am calling from Calgary, Canada.
Calgary, Canada. Welcome to the show. What are you doing to prepare for the coronavirus?
Well, doing basic stuff. Of course, cleanliness and food preparation and goods and other things.
You been paying attention to the media much?
Some. Sometimes it's a little too much to take, and it's got to be put into some kind of context and just fact-based information, and not allow it to just overwhelm.
Right. Improper information is the worst thing that the media is going on. Same thing with conspiracy theory. There are conspiracy theories that are based on conspiracies that are based on conspiracy that have not even a nugget of truth to be a conspiracy. And the same thing happens with the global media.
I mean, do you see the global narrative losing control of this?
It already is losing control. Its fiscal stimuluses haven't worked. They brought in $2.5 trillion in fiscal stimulus today in helicopter money, and the stock market still went down 2,000. So yes, the government and the global media is losing control of the global narrative. Yes. And you can mark this as a statement and move forward and backwards in time. The global narrative has many cracks in the damn wall today.
Wow, that's saying a lot. Now, you had mentioned before that if that scenario prevails, maybe some sort of secret technology could be in
something could leak through, or you could have a scenario where a variety of corporate leaders get together and realize the government's not going to do anything to bail everyone out because they're useless. And they'll come together and create a group of champions that put forth new technologies under one natural IPO that has a low public offering and offer this technology to everyone, which is many forms of semi-secret technology that could be brought onto the market. It's just the governments that are stopping them. And it'll be the conglomerates of corporations that want to do good and not evil that come together and put something forward.
Interesting.
And then there are a variety of other semi-secret technologies that could really put a rapid end to this entire coronavirus. Rapid end to it. But you're still going to need government and secret government approval to put them out.
And obviously that's the challenge.
That's a challenge. But as the global media and the global narrative cracks further and further, and it just shows that the government tools that they're using right now are completely ineffective, the media is going to do whatever it's going to do to gather an audience, because the entire conspiracy community is a direct challenge to the global media now. Whether the conspiracy guys are good or bad, it doesn't matter. It's a challenge to the media. I would recommend everyone go and watch the movie Contagion.
Yeah, it's a little intense.
Gives a lot of truth to it, though. A lot of truth.
Yeah. So recommendations for personal protection, obviously, other than the obvious standard things. The spiritual hygiene aspects are obviously very relevant.
Absolutely. 4 corners of your bedroom, 4 corners of your bed. The things I've been talking about for almost a decade now. Beginning to implement those at another level. And the purpose is to not keep coronavirus out, is to keep you out of fear. Keep you grounded so that as these awakening energies are intensifying, because as the coronavirus intensifies, the actual awakening energies intensify too. They're one and the same.
You had mentioned before, like that the coronavirus might have some kind of sentience to it.
Yes, 100%. It is awake and aware.
Yeah, that adds a whole another layer of perception.
Right. And, we as a human species, only think human species are conscious. Yet everyone with a pet knows that dog or cat feels and is emotional and is bonded and connected to its environment. Same thing with the whales, the dolphins, the bears, and so are virus conscious aware beings.
Interesting. Well,
So preparation is the key here. Preparation will depict your execution here. So during the beginning of spiritual hygiene, and then ritual and ceremony, regular ritual and ceremony that actually makes a difference to yourself. That's not intended to put up a wall of no, I don't believe, because a wall of no, I don't believe won't do nothing for you.
so you mentioned like the relationship with that fear aspect is, and considering the sentience, is impacts the relationship with potentiality of the virus.
Exactly. But also having a healthy understanding of what fear is saying to you at the moment. Okay? And not allowing it to stick to you days, weeks, and months in a row.
Well, excellent information, Andrew. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, brother, I got to move on to the next caller. Thanks so much for calling in.
I appreciate your time and information.
Okay. Robert, let's pick Monty Dean next. We'll add a little comedic relief to our viral load we're all getting here.
Okay, Monty, you're up.
Yay, hello.
Hello, Mr. Viral Partner.
Hey, look, we cuddled afterwards. Let's not talk about
it. Yes.
How you been?
Good. I've been doing good. How are you preparing for the coronavirus?
Continuing on with my hermit ways. Not really. It's in the outer awareness, but it hasn't hit my bubble yet. However, I'm ignoring the media, but I'm not ignoring it, if that makes sense. So when I go to I try and pick the slow times during the day to go to the supermarket and buy food. Apart from that, mind you, I may be a little bit selfish. I've started my YouTube channel and it's slowly growing. And if everyone's stuck in their houses, they'll have to do something and hopefully watch my videos.
And as I have been holding off on putting another boot camp together, Spiritual Hygiene, Spiritual 101 boot camp, I was going to start it in the beginning of March, and I wanted to wait for the fear to strike hold. So everyone pay attention to your inboxes and emails. I'll be doing a special show that will be a boot camp for Spiritual Hygiene, Spiritual Advancement 101. But as people get locked up, I will be doing more shows. Why? Because you're locked up and you can listen now.
See, yes, it's all part of our cunning plan. We're adapting.
Exactly.
We didn't actually share the virus. Interesting enough, on my last roundtable, because I'm tired of like, yes, there's a virus, blah, blah, blah. We actually sort of went, sort of gamed out I sound like hijacker. Sort of played the what if game to see what timelines would sort of unfold. Mm-hmm. Not the stuff that
fantasy conspiracy league theories.
Yeah, but that's a style of my show. So I do point that out, that it's like, this is a what if. Mm-hmm. It's not like this will happen, because
Well, it's not about what ifs, what has. What has happened. If you trace back the last 24 days, you guys will actually be surprised, but most people don't know what happened to them yesterday, let alone 24 days ago.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to do a news reversal the last 24 days, and you actually look the top news cycles the last 24 days, you're going to be surprised, really.
It's interesting because the joy of the conspiracy community. Everything's connected, and so I do find I haven't listened to some of the audios I've been sent with your conversations, because I'll be fascinated to see where and when and why this virus is existing, because I shorten it to forced evolution on the planet, and most people click instantly. It's like, well, yeah, it's done that. It's ramped everything up, because people are still arguing over it. Was it released accidentally or on purpose? And it's like, well, you're wasting time there, because either Team Dark, as I call them, they're using the opportunity or trying to. But I still think they're, you know, how that the whole order out of chaos, they can't control the chaos.
Nope, they've totally lost control of it. Chaos is chaos now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which, you know, it's a stupid idea. It's like, yeah, we'll control the weather.
Team Dark's been watered down a lot, though. They're not the pure dark anymore. They're like Team Greywater now.
Yeah, because one way of explaining it, I don't know if I'm right or not, but it sounds good. That in the higher frequencies, we've won and it's filtering down, or the shifts happened, and so basically we're dealing with middle management at the moment. And you can tell with, like, if you see the Clintons, like, have you seen Bill Clinton lately? Something's sucking the life out of him, and it's not Monica.
Nope.
So
it's not Monica.
No, it's definitely not Monica.
It's cancer.
And so
that's why it's cancer.
Well, that's poetic.
Well, he's had secret recovery from cancer already twice.
Oh, okay. So also like David Rockefeller, when his 9th heart transplant said no, enough.
Pretty much.
But it was funny when David died, because even the Dalai Lama said, like, yeah, F that guy. Peace, love among means. Rockefeller died. Fucking yeah.
Fuck yeah, celebrate.
Yeah. So you said 6 to 10 months. Is that because there'll be a second
minimum 6 to 10 months. Correct.
Now
because we're not testing in Canada, United Kingdom, Mexico, the majority of Latin America, the majority of Africa, okay, that's not testing at all. You're going to see this stick around for much longer.
Yeah, I was going to sort of, yeah.
Like the rest of the world that's doing all the testing and all that stuff and showing how to do it right, guess what? They're going to get through it. Then the second round is going to come, naturally the disease, but us who are going to be quarantined here for a really long time and have large volumes of people get very, very sick and a pretty significant amount of deaths that are going to come around. Guess what? Because we didn't do the basics early on, it sticks around double the length. It could have been done in 3 months, out in 4 months, if we done the right things back in February. And the shows you were recording about, I've privately recorded about, 6-7 hours between February 24th and 27th. That was basically dictating what the next 24 to 48 days is going to be like. And making a deep connection to what's going on in Hollow Earth and some of the other structures that are going on there. But I chose to not put it out because it ultimately would have done no good until a lot more of the world has it self-evident that this isn't going to go away.
Yeah, because it would come across better in review for understanding instead of you've met a human once or twice. Some people would react to it so badly because their mind would jump into that fear state if they heard what you were talking about. I guess, and there's enough of that already because like there's that certain people are actually screaming it's a hoax.
There's a lot of people screaming it's a hoax. Yeah. And there's one major YouTube presenter who follows one of those one-letter people, you know who I'm talking about, simply states that the coronavirus is created by the Clintons to take down Trump. Wow, you're a fucking idiot. And you got a following of like 200,000 people that believe your shit.
Yeah. I can't remember what I was going to say now because that point trumped my point, huh?
And put a quash, quash on your point.
Bloody psychics.
Exactly.
We used this joke when I was actually on terrestrial radio here in Melbourne. It's just a joke. It's like, yeah, we were going to have a psychic in tonight, but they were in a car accident. Yeah, apparently the guy came out of nowhere. Yeah, well, hey, I'm not getting paid.
I'll take a moment to poke at conspiracy community again.
Well, yeah,
they're presenting some of the most stupidest shit out there. I thought things wouldn't ever get worse than flat Earth. Guess what? It's been topped. So flat earth believers, you've got people that are even dumber than you now. Feel great. Okay, even dumber than you. I didn't think it would get any worse. It has.
Yeah. Back in the old days, like a century ago, like the elite would always sort of delve into that spiritual side of things because they had a lot of money and servants and they had time to do it. With everyone quarantined and restricted to their houses, if they choose to, this can be that massive spiritual shift that people have been alluding to, possibly.
Yes, and this is one of those things. As the global narrative begins to fall apart and people are quarantined at home, not in their normal daily jobs, not being sucked off of by the economy and the Babylonian money magic system, which is taking it hard in the rectum, they're going to have life force, quarantined or not, they're going to have life force available they have not had since birth.
Yeah. Now,
what you choose to do with your quarantine time will ultimately determine how well you go through the awakening.
Yes. Once again, free will and choice. And I've seen the Matrix films. Choice. That's the problem.
That's it. All comes down to choice, 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 choice.
Yeah, especially that's how the government or Team Dark, they give you a false choice where it's like Trump or Hillary. I'm like, oh, for the love of...
Why only two choices? What about the infinite point of view and infinite choice? No, you get two. That's it.
In America, you get two choices. Yes. Interesting enough is I've got the feeling the Democrats want Trump to win because apparently they're propping up Biden, who is like... I can't do any comedy about him because you just have to let him. You just put him on stage and let him go. Yes. He's just like, really, is anyone going to wake up? It's just like you do. I don't want him to be the leader of the free world. I don't want him to be a leader in a line. Just like he introduced his wife and his sister and mixed that up. He keeps sniffing young children. And the media are completely oblivious to it because they got their orders of like, yeah, this is our guy. It's like, what? The one that's walked into a tree.
Twice.
Yeah. Yeah. And then said, sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, ma'am. And then walk around.
Yeah. Anyways, whatever's going on with the global media, it is literally about to have its proverbial nuts cracked and ovaries kicked and believability factor reduced to that of Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah. That's is this all part of, like, I know you've kind of mentioned it somewhere, but is this part of the awakening because it's because we've always said we don't know what it will be and it'll be out of left field type thing? Because this seems very out of left field.
Yeah, this is out of left field and it's a line drive right into everyone's belief engine. Deal with it now. Literally, deal with it now.
Yeah.
If you don't allow it to be denial as a river in Egypt, guess what? You're going to get sick. And you're going to have to deal with it as a crisis of faith.
Yeah, because, this is, God writes better comedy. And believe me, the prime creator is having a giggle. I think it's like...
He's writing a tragic comedy. Yes. And there's going to be a lot of egotistical people that are going to be tragically hip. Oh, there I was, denying coronavirus with my prayers, and God struck me down and put me into this quarantine zone with all these sick people, and I just couldn't resist, and I succumbed to the coronavirus, and there was the light, and God said, go back. You ain't ready yet.
And then I had a revelation, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I knew I had to stand up and go to the toilet, and I had to walk into my bathroom where I could...
purge the coronavirus
and purge and kneel on my legs and pray to the porcelain altar and praise God that I will stop vomiting.
Yes. And then, you recover from coronavirus and guess what? You have permanent lung damage and can't barely talk but a whisper for the rest of your life.
Yes, I was going to find that photo.
Yes. Thank you, Robert. The toilet paper wars has begun.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Someone actually said, sorry to talk. Sorry, Robert.
Go ahead, Robert.
No, I was just saying I got more of those.
just let him roll. Ha, ha, ha.
Ah, nice. Yes, and it comes in an 8-pack.
Ding.
One same photo, but the wording was different. Whereas, like, when you're playing the video game Costco, she's the final boss at the end.
Yep. Now, back to your making your connections to the Great Awakening and coronavirus coming out of left field, 100%. And the global media, as I said, has already lost control. Now it's kind of like a person on a set of skis that's just done the first fall forward, but everyone else that's watching it knows this is going to be a disaster. There ain't no recovering from this fall at 20 miles an hour on your skis.
Yes.
Okay. So everyone watching the global narrative, this is the time to get your popcorn out. Okay.
Yeah,
okay? But
I've done that.
It's going to be spread out over many, many months. Okay. So you're going to get fat if you eat too much popcorn. And you're going to get sick if you watch too much news. So part of it is having a healthy sense of awareness of what the world is saying on all the different channels that you could watch without overwhelming yourself. Everything in moderation, including moderation. Okay?
Yeah.
There is a coming to a point where there are other things that are going to come out of left field for the people that are ready on the awakening journey. Plenty of other things. It's the matter of, is your attention span limited to 3-minute or 90-second conversations? Have you been programmed by your global media to only have a 90-second attention span? Or can you have a 1-hour attention span towards spirit speaking to you? That's why I put out things like the consciousness strike, which take, like 25, 30 minutes to do, so you can build up that endurance engine.
Yeah. Yeah, I do roundtables, as you know, and everyone's enjoying it so much. It's like, oh, let's go for another hour, and I'm still like sitting completely drained. So like, yeah, okay, let's do it. Woo,
exactly. No more.
Right. It's like, you people make me sick. First you get the toilet paper, then you get the power, and when you get the power, you get the women.
Now, will there be people that will have hoarded toilet paper and die? Yes. Plenty. Plenty people that have hoarded the toilet paper and going to pass on.
I have a very important question, which is obviously on the tip of everyone's mind. If you have coronavirus, which is a super flu, why buy toilet paper? What is this thinking instead of food? Toilet paper is gold now. What's the thinking behind it?
Well, if you use your toilet paper equation, okay, how many days can you go on one roll based off of the food that you're eating?
Yeah, okay.
Unfortunately, there's certain foods that your toilet paper equation is going to change for a while. If you get what I'm saying, okay? Most people can't operate on 2 squares to clean themselves up, especially if they've been having some kind of odd food that's playing weirdos with their gut.
So maybe don't have that curry. Yeah, all right.
Right. Or go the old, bidet and get a hose next to it and spray yourself off.
Yeah, that has the old shower routine that has been put forward.
Okay. It's just those hose that sprays water, it's just cleaning it up. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting enough, here in Australia, Victoria, they're implementing it, and we're getting a stimulus package. Everyone that's on benefits gets $750 one-off payment. The problem is you can't leave your house, so everything we bought online. Mm-hmm. That's, I think, what I remembered. It's
stimulus package. We've got nothing like that here. They're talking like benefiting the banks, not the individual humans.
Yeah, of course. Well, we've seen that 8 years ago, or was 10, 12 years ago in the global financial crisis.
Right. They only help the banks, they didn't help the individual humans. And that's, once again, is a complete distancing from the reality that people are going to be watching. Like, okay, government, you have no test kits. You're only helping the banks. Okay. When are we going to get the message you don't give a flying fuck about us?
Yeah, that's one of the things about the old systems collapsing, is because people are seeing that the government doesn't represent you; it just represents itself. and that it's going to be a massive shift. Well, quick question: which timeline or scenario will there be an election in November? And if so, how?
Good question. Good question.
Will there be an app?
In those audios that I had Andre sent you, there is a prediction.
Yeah.
I have also stated in some private conversations, right now they're trying to merge dozens of other timelines onto this coronavirus timeline now. Why? Because they're going to separate people out so they could take people off of this timeline with the virus. And it's one of the reasons they're not testing here in the United States, because once they start testing, they manifest a number. And once there's a manifested number, they can't change the future. But they can merge a timeline and then take parts of you and put you on a whole bunch of other timelines and spread the virus other places. And yes, shit like that is going on right now. But they've also been doing that back in December and January before anyone knew about the coronavirus. I've got another series of videos that audios that I've done with Andre that's saying the same thing. All the way back to December 4th, saying something big is coming. It has to do with the timelines. And right now there's a whole bunch of timeline manipulations that are going on in the background to change things. But unfortunately, nature isn't playing ball to the timeline manipulators.
Yeah. I think that's because whatever's happening, the reality, if they can call it, the collective, is like humanity as well as the earth and everything else is being not funneled, but pushed maybe into one direction, and the manipulation is being watered down, and it's not working as what they. Is that sort of a good way of expressing
watered down manipulation? Okay, so I'm going to do it like this. So think of like a 14-year-old kid that sneaks into their parents' alcohol cabinet, and they take a bunch of alcohol and they fill it up with water.
Yep.
And just before their parents come home, like, fuck, I just realized they're going to taste it. Let me put some rubbing alcohol in it.
Okay, yeah.
And what's going to happen if your parents drink normal alcohol with rubbing alcohol added to it? You're going to kill them.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's what's going on right now. That's a better metaphor. They watered it down, and then they're putting some shit in it that's going to kill their own plan.
Yeah, because that's sort of like I mentioned in the chat, I think at the start of the show, whatever's happening, it feels off. And I guess
it's not their A game. It's definitely not their A manipulation game, because they weren't prepared and this wasn't predicted.
Yeah, because I try and mention with my guests on the round table is because how they deal with absolutes. It's like talking to Sith Lords occasionally. No, it's this. It's like, well, I think for me anyway, it seems to be that it was accidentally released from the
naturally occurred.
Yeah, naturally occurred. And Team Dark's gone, oh shit, put down the scotch, and they're trying to catch up and put their plans. And the way I sort of explain it is, when you get a chessboard and you just flick the board and all the pieces in the air, that's sort of what happened. And the players have no idea what's going on. And that's why, because one perspective also is that if Team Dark release this, it's because they've lost. And they've
lost. Exactly.
Yeah, and if I can't have it, no one can type mentality.
But they've lost, and they fractionalized and fractalized themselves. There are some that are saying, fuck it, if I can't have it, no one will. But there's all the other people who have been the havers that are part of that infrastructure going, no, you don't rule no more. We can have this. We can do it. That's why it's not the A game.
Yeah, because there's also that feeling of people are trying to suck up and do good things so they can still have control on the other side of the change. I don't say advantage,
like creating diet disclosure.
Yeah, where it's like, oh look, we've got a text message from Alpha Centauri, that type of thing. Instead of like, well, the Palladians have been here for billions of years.
So as the global narrative, the walls of the global narrative begin to crack severely, it will be conspiracy communities that drive forward, let's just say, the holes in the wall, even if the hole isn't there. And the global narrative is going to have to be going, conspiracies, there's a hole in the wall there. And they're going to put their hand there, there's no hole there. And then they're going to take a hand off over here and something's going to happen. because right now the global narrative has been manipulating conspiracy for the last 10 years, and conspiracy is like a chicken with its head cut off doing whack-a-mole, ding, 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 and all of a sudden the conspiracy is the beast they can't control no more.
Yeah.
Too much information. Information's oversaturation.
From the mainstream media.
Yeah, true or not doesn't matter. Right. It doesn't matter if it's real or not.
Because the way that you can see the mainstream media doing the opposite in a certain way, because they can't report on anything, because one bit of information will start the crack in the dam. And so if you on the other side in the old conspiracy world, people will start looking, because the mainstream media will be closed-minded and, you know, only have 3% of like, yeah, the sky is blue, come back next week when we talk about a cat. Right. But you've got conspiracies going, yeah, but what about if Bigfoot is actually, and it's something, well, not fake. I don't like using fake, but that, yeah, there's going to be too many cracks in the dam, and the narrative will be distracted trying to put out all these fires, as you said. That makes sense. Yep. I'm glad you told me that, so when I'm part of it, I know it's all part of my cunning plan.
So as information oversaturation begins to bog down the artificial intelligences that run the global narrative, is where you have the potential for something to make its way out into an oversaturated information world.
Yeah.
Who's going to notice it? Who's going to notice it? It's one raindrop in a 10 million raindrops.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay? Who's going to notice it? And then how is it going to gain viral popularity?
Oh, yeah, because if it's so outlandish and unbelievable, you have to deal with that, like Kennedy wasn't shot. He was, you know, picked up by the grey little alien men with 8 heads that are all purple hair, and yeah, there's all the fake stuff that's already out there. It's going to be hard unless you have discernment, I guess. But still, it's going to be, mind you, also everything could turn 180 where the news just actually says something truthful, and people, because I've said before to you, you know, people go outside and they see the whole sky full of UFOs and spacecraft and everything else like that. They won't believe it till they go inside and see it on television. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I get it. So that's why I said, how are you going to make it viral? How is it going to even get to that? So it's leaked. If let's say it's leaked out of Rev Radio, big deal. How many times is it going to be shared on social media? If it's not shared less than 100,000 times, it will not go viral.
Yeah.
There's enough controls to say anything reaching 100,000 shares. Guess what? They can stop it.
Yeah, yeah. You're not referring to the Dave Chappelle disclosure speech, are you?
Yes.
Ooh. So, from memory, for that to happen, you need 5 major news outlets to release the story at the same time, because the whole network, the knock-on effect, because 5 people's like, oh, it must be true, and then bang. If one did it, it could be hidden.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That would be,
So the viralness of information. How, again, I'm not going to just beat up on one conspiracy theory. Why has Flat Earth stuck around? Because of sharing on social media. Period.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's how. So how is something that can open up the floodgates of off the global narrative stick in an oversaturated information society that's surrounded by people, you know, going through the throes of life in quarantine?
Well, you need gravitas or weight or trustworthiness. Like even for some strange, Ricky Gervais just popped into my head. If you sort of need a comedian to make light of it, because, you know, or for some strange reason,
Michael Jordan to tune into the show and call in.
Yeah, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, or some major superstar who would normally be at a basketball game, who's quarantined at his house, tweets, "Oh, look at this," and their followers start following it.
Yeah. James Wood is an example as well. Yeah.
Or some major, you know, musical star.
Yeah. Can you imagine Lars from Metallica going, "Yo, dudes"?
Exactly. Yo, dude, it's something I've been watching. Check it out.
Yeah.
Here's the link.
Or even or even like the level of Taylor Swift, like the amount of people that follow her. The list is there. It's weird.
I'd laugh my ass off if she called in her said her name was not Taylor, and I just gave her a weird ass reading of "You Gotta Be Sovereign, Get the Lizards Out of Your Life."
So I've had sort of issues with my past employers. That's correct. Yes, you have. Oh, good times.
Mm-hmm.
I know you called it in 2012. It's a Three Stooges sketch. I add to that where it's married and bred with a Monty Python sketch.
Yep. Because
the amount of farce and ridiculousness, where you can see that now in certain things. I can't think of an example, but the media's ramping up the fear, and
it has to. It has to, because that's its only control it's got left.
Yeah, because now, what distraction is any distraction going on, or
guess what? All of the other distractions that were there just ended. The NBA suspended its season. The NHL suspended its season. The majority of the concerts are ending. So the normal distractions aren't even going to be on air. UEFA Football 2020 canceled. Milan Football League canceled. Right. Cricket canceled. All the major sporting events canceled.
Yeah, the Grand Prix here in Melbourne, I think it's this weekend. It's a 50-50, and the one after in Bahrain is closed in. But who knows if that goes to it, because Ferrari weren't sure that they were going to turn up because they're from Italy.
Right.
So, and like a positive spin on this, basically, I asked the question in the chat, we need to starve the virus out, and so people stop sharing it. That's the way of getting rid of what's going on, right?
Social distancing stops it from the logarithmic spreading and brings it down to a flat line spreading.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So yes, and that could be up to 12 months, and so the planet's going to be sort of on lockdown on a certain aspect, because it's not going to be like total martial law. Being here in Australia, there's contingencies, but I think even in China, they're allowing people to go to the supermarket and stuff to get just provisions.
No.
Oh, not anymore.
There are still cities that are on full lockdown.
Yeah.
There's still 90 million plus people on full lockdown. And there are a lot of people who've been told to go back to their jobs and they're like, no, we're not. We don't believe what you're saying. If you look at the rate levels of traffic compared to the year before, the level of electrical power used to the year before, China's really only 30% operational. 30%.
Yeah, and they make most things.
Right. So they can't put a gun to somebody's back and tell them to go back to work after they've just gone through this.
Yeah. So my question is to you, oh mighty librarian in the sky. The planet can survive this.
Absolutely.
Yes.
100%. It's totally survivable.
Yeah. So the planes are hovering. Yeah. Right. So we're shutting down for renovations for about 6 to 10 months. That's sort of
reconnection to your quarantined family members.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Learn to forgive, guys. Learn to forgive.
Yeah. How's your spiritual?
No. Yes, there's gonna be a lot of people who I can't be me around my family. Well, guess what? You don't have the distractions to get out anymore.
The actor who played the Riddler in the TV show Gotham just said, after a month of being quarantined, how many depressive songs are you going to have from all these people about? And then he tweeted underneath, and what about all those people that live with their partner and all those breakup songs as well? It's like, I've spent 28 days with you every day. I hate you. Noreen, go out. Get out. I hate you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Yeah. I'll leave.
Exactly.
I don't. A hospital bed will be better being with you. All right.
Now, there are other things that go on. Forgiveness opens up to spirituality. Let's just say it's not even forgiveness, an allowance because of quarantine. You got to make a truce. Okay.
Yeah, so the blocks will either be removed or
right.
Yeah, so that
even if you just go, I hate your ass, you hate me, we agreed, but while we're on quarantine, we're having a fucking truce. I don't have to forgive you, but I can abide by the rules of the truce.
So instead of seeing just the negative side of people, they have the choice of seeing the positive side of people.
Yes, the positive side of people. And then there's going to be the good old hermit conspiracy theorists that's been waiting for the time of the quarantine to go, now you have plenty of time to watch my videos, asshole.
Remember to subscribe and comment. Well,
choose your playlist well.
I did try and I'm trying to figure out from a personal point of view. It's like, I've been a hermit for 4 years. I'm decided to leave the house. And the first thing I hear is Corona. What? You bastard.
Exactly.
It's because I love seeing live music as well. I just saw a band from Ukraine called Ginger. They're in South America at the moment, so I think they may stop touring soon because everyone's shutting down. My next gig for me is in May with Iron Maiden, and everything's up, everything's in flux, and they're not being cancelled; they're being postponed. So it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see the globe pause for half a year in a certain
online entertainment is going to be the new quarantines, basketball, baseball, football.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm going to do whatever I can do to seize a market share of that, motherfuckers.
Well, and I just started my thing. I'm up to 39 subscribers in 6 weeks. No, 8 weeks, whatever. I was at 2 at the start of the year, so this is my, that hockey stick graph. Mine's going to go.
Exactly. Logarithmic growth. And for all you hermits out there, it's time to unite under the banner of introverted extroverts and Hermits United.
Yes.
I already launched Galactic News Network, Dave. GNN, Galactic News. It's already got the website for it and everything. But this isn't about that. This is about creating entertainment. It's not about, I want my reading or what's going on in Hollow Earth. I'm going to put entertainment out because that's what people are going to need.
Well, no disrespect to the gentleman you worked with the history of the galaxy. Would you do that again?
Lance? Oh, yeah, I do that again, but I do it with somebody else that's asking questions a different way because Lance has already done it. And I've done plenty of follow-up interviews with Lance after that too. So that's why I didn't want to disparage Lance at all. Please don't get me wrong. I'd love to. Yeah.
That's my thing. I'm fascinated with is especially there isn't a native species. There's up to 76 original species, and okay, hang on. I'm a Doctor Who fan, but whoa. Because it's multiple timelines and in certain ways people say that Atlantis and Lemuria were the peak spot, but there's so much before that, and and I think remember you saying that the actual Atlantis itself was leapfrogging through time, and basically
what would help is graphics. All those videos were supposed to have graphics, and that was supposed to be put out as a paid 20 episode paid product, and it all went out for free with no graphics.
Yeah.
As a mistake. Somebody put it out as a mistake with all free for no graphics. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I put all this money into it, motherfuckers.
Yeah, because even if you mark it, say Sean David Morton has written his book Sands of Time, and he points out where he got the journals from this guy, but at the end he says if you think it's true, it's true. If you don't think it's true, it's a good story. He puts a loophole in the start of the book. I think a lot of science geeks would, sci-fi, even if they don't believe that the history, it will resonate with them anyway because they spent time. But it's a fantastical story.
Yeah.
Where it's I was taught Australian history. God, that's so boring. And then another white man walked into the bush and found a tree.
Yes. that tree dropped an acorn on his head, and he created a new philosophy called acorn hits man in head.
Yes. And here's a t-shirt. While ignoring, the natives have been here for 100,000 years, but we discovered it. a white man, and that's even wrong because the Dutch found it nearly 100 years earlier.
So there's something else that I want to bring up, and it has a comical value to it, but it's actually quite serious. There's a whole group of atheists, and we talked about this once before,
Mm-hmm.
but are going to be having some serious question issues on their religion of science, on their religion of the global narrative. The atheists are going to, and scientists are going to be having some serious faith shit going on. Because what do atheists believe in?
Not much.
They do believe in something. Science, motherfuckers. Science.
Yes. They are a soulless meat sacks, and they believe in science. And if the person in the white coat is a god.
Right. The person in the white coat's a god. Many of them are going to be having significant issues.
Yes. Not cognitive dissonance, or even worse, where like their whole belief structure and faith will be challenged. And as I made the correlation last time, is that they'll probably turn to religions, like the Abrahamic religions, and realize that.
I hope not. I hope not.
Well, I know. That's what I mean. That's when the change happens, where all that breaks down, and then the atheists turn and go, "Oh."
I would hope that some of the bright atheists and scientists would realize that that's not the one you turn to right away.
Yeah, I do like the quote. Become your own shaman. It's like, what?
Right, and I'm not telling them what to turn to, but those aren't the best examples of how to rediscover God.
Yeah,
because they're just damn confusing in the beginning when you're first trying to get into it and understanding some of the jargon and dogma that they're still mired in.
Yeah, it's like with the flat Earth. The Earth is flat, and that proves there's a creator God. Like, what mental gymnastics are you doing here? A 3-point backflip bike? It's like, how is it
taking they're taking the nutcracker to a whole new level?
Yeah, like really, it's like I look at a plant and I'm amazed. I see, the divinity in plants and trees, and I'm still amazed. I actually not own a cat, but my cat stayed with me.
He owns you.
She owns me.
Yeah, she owns you. Absolutely.
I know.
100%.
For the 5 o'clock in the morning, she meowed for an hour, and that's why I'm wide awake now and also about to fall asleep. So, but it's you can find it in, but it's. Will people start to meditate? Because if they get, apart from going online with YouTube and such.
The answer is yes, because they won't be stuck in their 9 to 5, 40 hours a week when they're under quarantine. It will take them a week or 2 or 3 weeks to come out of the haze of life sucking, for corporate life force stealing their world. Okay? It's not going to be like one snow day or a week-long snow day.
No.
Right. It's going to be 8 to 10 weeks.
Yeah, well, by then you'll be sick of broadcast television because you've seen everything.
Right. And you're going to inevitably go, well, let me try this meditation thing.
Yeah. Or knit, or look at how many cat videos. So you may take about.
Okay, let me watch this Galactic history series. My fucking conspiracy hermit friend's been telling me for 10 years to watch it.
Yeah, I'm bored of everything else. I'll just look into this 9/11 thing that people have mentioned occasionally.
Exactly.
Yes.
Or they won't just do a cursory overview.
Well, yeah, 9/11, the gift that keeps on giving. If you ever think you'll hear that sentence, because it woke people up straight away. I was like 2006. It took about 5 years from the shock of it, and then I watched a documentary called In Plain Sight, which was aeroplane plane. And they didn't say who it was. They were just asking questions. And that was actually broadcast on free-to-air terrestrial television here in Australia. And that started me down. Then I found Alex Jones and David Icke, and skip a bit and found yourself through Revolution, blah, 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 blah.
Let's talk about AJ for a second, Alex Jones.
All right.
Okay.
Is he Bill Hicks?
That's an insult to Bill Hicks.
I know, because Bill Hicks is funny.
He's fucking funny. And, and some of the Bill Hicks would have rubbed off somewhere in 20 years. Okay.
Exactly. Yep,
but I find it funny that they throw that conspiracy at him and he denies it all the time. The reason why I want to bring up Alex Jones for a minute is there's a lot of stuff that Alex Jones says. He's 100% right. His delivery is horrible, though.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. And then there are other things he's totally off on. It doesn't matter. What do you think's going to happen to Alex Jones in the next 6 months? Let's play the prediction game here. And everyone, go into the chat room. What do you think Alex Jones is going to happen? He's been totally deplatformed. He's only on his internet and BitChute.
Yeah, I've got a duality answer. One is he becomes a internet god, or they take him out straight away.
Okay.
Because
somebody says space dust.
Yes, because if he, I don't know if he works it well, but if people start, that Alex Jones, he's funny, they start watching it and they see. For me, like, he says a lot of true things because he reads the papers from these idiots that are doing stuff, and then when he's gaming it out, he keeps yelling and the vein's going to pop. However, he got deplatformed. Because he was telling people that the social media networks are working together to deplatform people. Way to go, guys. You've just proven the theory. Funny stuff. I think he may actually expand or his backlog may be shared a lot.
I have this is my prediction. He's going to stop the Alex Jones character and start talking real to grab an audience. And he's going to say Alex Jones has been a character because he's already said it in a court case. Alex Jones is just a character. Okay?
Yeah.
Because he's going to want to get on mainstream news. He's going to want to get back on Fox News, and he's going to want to be replatformed.
Did you sorry to interrupt. Did you see him on Joe Rogan?
Yes.
Yeah, that's more Alex than the character, isn't it?
Right, yeah. And that's why I'm making it. Alex Jones will just become Alex Jones, and he'll be replatformed because they're still in question in an election.
Yeah. Now, the people in charge or think they're in charge. Let's not get lost. They're not sharing this information that you are per se. Like they can see it going a long time. But they're saying maybe they're only going a third of your prediction, if I can say.
Because, if you talk to the real economists who understand what the government fiscal policy has been, that it's completely 100% lie, that there has to be a full market correction, and then coronavirus is its own thing that has nothing to do with the markets. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, because they haven't tested, you have a logarithmic expansion and then a hospital overwhelming, which means you have to have a complete rollout of the military hospital system. And guess what? That's not done overnight. Not done overnight. Okay.
No. Well, there's troops in Europe now without masks, and
majority of them are epidemiological and biological warfare specialists who have biohazard suits that can train and support a local government of how to properly do biohazard containment. And it's not that they are going to be spreading the biohazards. No, they're going to be teaching the containment process.
Yeah.
Because the majority of the local governments and local health ministries have zero clue of how to contain a highly toxic virus that's spreadable.
Yeah, I think it's just the conspiracy community where, question everything. Yeah, but if you have an answer that is backed up with logic and science and, reason, stop questioning it. 2 + 2 is actually 4. Because that's like everyone, if you look for something, you most likely find it. And that's where you get like the SJW stuff and, everything's woke. And it's like, no, you're trying to find it. Yeah, there is a woman in this story. Because you need balance. It doesn't mean because the woman's in the story that they're going woke. And I'm seeing that as well, where they get into even talking about just very quickly climate change. Instead of actually talking about solutions or what's going on, it just goes back to the fight. And I think there's that energy that's on the back of that.
There's going to be Hollywood is going to take it hard
Yeah.
But there's one thing about Hollywood, it's got 5,000, every studio's got 5,000 movies that have been buried centuries ago that they'll be able to reanimate and put out on a streaming process.
Yes.
Okay? Or go right to Amazon, whatever.
Yeah. Netflix, Amazon.
Because people are going to be clamoring for entertainment, real entertainment that isn't the super serious shit of what's going on. Yeah. And yes, we have to pay attention to the super serious stuff, even if it's a bunch of garbage. You still got to take everything as a grain of salt. But after a while, 1,000 grains of salt still represents a pinch of salt.
Yes. Like Disney Plus, the Disney model is like they've got all these movies from the vault and then they wheel out, as a fake example, 10 movies. And you can watch them for about 8 months and then, or 12 months, and then they get rid of them and they bring out another 10. They did that with, like, say, Fantasia. They made 100,000 VHS tapes, and once it's sold out, you have to wait another 10 years till they actually released it. And that's how, it's about money. But I think
I have a feeling some streaming services are going to present themselves as free during this, because it's what's going to survive them as a corporation when it comes time to rebuild the world.
What's going to, apart from the economy collapsing, the stock market collapsing, which affects the economy, yes. What is the economy? Are we going to go into a different style of economy because people aren't earning or anything? Or like, is it going to be sort of not debt jubilee, but payment stop? What can you see happening financially? That's a better way.
Fundamental changes in the way corporations do business, especially outsourcing food from a country. Like right now, 80% of food imports, Mexico exports its high quality food to the United States, and we give them our crap GMO. Yeah. That model is going to come to an end. The just-in-time model, which is your stock is only what you have in your stores, is going to come to an end also. Okay. And you're probably going to see a significant amount of drone-based deliveries be taken over very fast, and laws that are going to allow driverless cars to come in. So a bunch of things like that. They're going to try to rapidly modernize a society. And then you're going to have to look at the major industries. Like just today, a Ford plant in Kentucky just reported 3 people tested positive for coronavirus. The whole plant's shut down now.
So
all the business models for production are going to have to be revamped at the rules, policies, and procedures levels of the corporation and its board members, who will have to create a business model that is prepared for another outbreak, because none of them have preparedness for any form of outbreak.
No, yeah.
Have a supply chain, a tier 1 and tier 2 supply chain that's local, that can supply them temporary amounts of parts so they can keep production going.
Well, that means a massive shift. Like I can see the forced evolution then, because the way that money's being weaponized and we're the only planet in reality that pays to live on our own planet. If it's 6 months of these new ways of dealing with things, people get used to it. Where like I'm not saying it will be the what is it, UBI, the benefit scheme where you get a certain amount of money just because you exist. I can't remember what it's called.
I get what you're saying. That is an inevitability, and probably it should have been done last month, but because they're still trying to save the economy and not save people first, they're going to run into this scenario why it's extended so much. And in the next 2 to 3 weeks, the global narrative is going to have to make a rapid switch to save the people. Example, like we have taxes are due on April 15th. That's 30 days from now.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea at the start.
Not to mention, no one's going to have money to pay their taxes because they're all under quarantine. And then the stock market's completely crashed.
Yeah. And also, if you've got the unemployed, benefits, the homeless, everything else like that, they're the first people that will react because of the lack of money, and there's going to be an element of crime going up.
Right. So Italy suspended mortgage payments. That's the level that they went to. That has to be done in the United States. Pete, you were just talking about Australia's giving $750. Everyone's going to need paycheck subsidies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how can the government issue it to people? Because you can't have the banks do it because they won't actually give people the money.
No. We saw that happen in 2008.
Right. So there's no mechanism existing for that to be created. So that would have to be created. And if they would have started a month ago or 2 months ago, it would have been a wholly different environment we're living in.
Well, I know because the Fed is private, but couldn't Treasury deposit digits into everyone's bank?
Doesn't have your bank account numbers.
Okay. So what about taxpayers at least?
No, doesn't have your bank account numbers. And then the amount of the Indian call scammers that are going to be stealing people's unsecured information.
Yes. Yeah. Well, see, that was in one of your talks with Andre. It was the scamming the scammers. They're going to have a field day. Well, unless if they do it from home, because they wouldn't be in the same room.
Right.
So yeah, just stay in your house. Have enough food and toilet paper. Watch a lot of YouTube channels like Andrew and myself. Meditate and don't answer the phone.
Pretty much. Just going to be a bunch of robocallers.
Yeah, exactly. There is something with on your internet. Yeah, I'm watching it. Go away.
Now, something else, can the banks freeze your accounts? Technically, they can, but they still need a federal order to freeze an account. Okay? So you can't trust the banks to put money into people's systems, and the majority of addresses that people get checks mailed to, the addresses aren't right. 30% of the addresses aren't actually right. And not to mention, you're going to have a massive shutdown of the postal system.
So I can see why you mentioned the global narrative has to push automation earlier than letting it happen their natural way.
But that's still 6 months away.
Yeah. I mean, they've got to have it. They're going to make the choice and then implement it. I was saying to my mum yesterday that now the governments don't have a cure or a cure to the system, not a cure to the virus. But someone probably in the 50s thought of this may happen, and so they've got a starting point.
No.
Now the thing is,
you're completely wrong. You've got to realize, in 2001 they started quantitative easing because of the stock market failure. 2008 extended quantitative easing, so on and so forth. And it's a completely, totally oversold fake economy at all the fundamental layers. And the bottom of people are asking, what's the bottom of the market? 13,000. It's got another almost 7,000 points, 8,000 points to drop before it becomes anywhere relevant. We're talking $190 trillion lost, but it was never there to begin with.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking about. Will there be debt jubilee? Because these people will try and save control.
So debt jubilee is a pipe dream.
Okay.
It completely eliminates the banksters as a model.
Yep.
They base everything on debt. If you eliminate the debt, there's no more bankster dark magic model. Okay.
Well, okay.
It's a debt-based economy.
Yeah, I can see the flaw in my thinking. Yeah, okay. Well, see, that's what I mean. They'll still want to try and get control out of it, and so there'll probably be they'll release stuff to help humanity enough. But once again, this could be that crack in the dam where
a series of corporations break away from the cabal of banksters and start doing something different, knowing full well the banksters are going to attack them publicly and privately.
Yeah.
That's when the dam has enough holes in it that a variety of corporations make an attempt to be champions to humanity and not the leeches of humanity.
Yeah, hopefully one of them makes that choice because they realize they can make money helping people instead of...
It's not even about making money to help people. It's about doing the right thing. And making 1% profit instead of 10,000% profit. Or 18% profit instead of 10,000.
Yeah, and still helping everyone and
putting people back to work.
Yes.
In jobs that are meaningful and not meaningless jobs.
And stop, cut down pollution, and we all work as one, and all the hippie dream, and yes.
Mm-hmm.
I guess. Well, now is the coronavirus being planned from upstairs at the prime creator? Because
The coronavirus planned itself as a free will expression.
Okay, because there was going to be something to do all of this.
Right.
And
Out of left field that is going to crack the reality and put a situation where information oversaturation is going to allow many hands to plug many holes. And so there are not enough hands to plug all the holes, whether it's a real hole or not.
Yeah. Because I couldn't manifest it, or not manifest it, but I couldn't see, and I didn't try that much because something will happen. Well, something has happened, and I just, when you said it was a free form of expression, I could just see this virus going like, okay, the Prime creators are like, we need something to, we need a game changer, and the virus is going, I'll go.
Pretty much, I volunteer. Good, go ahead. Ooh.
We'll be here in the bleachers cheering you on, son. Go for it.
Pretty much. Say, give it a shot. No one else has worked.
Say hello to Team Dark for us.
Yep. Exactly.
Even if it was created in a lab and there's a pattern, but there's that still manifests into reality, and then it got out of its containment. However, that happened. So. Now, maybe not the best person to ask you because you have that awareness of seeing timelines and stuff. But I like, certain people were aware of 9/11 happening before it happened.
Yep.
Because there's that energy bubble that goes down the time stream before a massive thing. What I'm sensing, which is just sort of blind luck type sensing, if that makes sense. It could, from what you said, our reality / world can be completely different by April 1st, which is kind of ironic for April Fool's Day. So I do find it interesting. 2020, which means perfect vision, and this came out of left field. You have to sort of giggle at it in a way.
Yep. Everyone was in the porta potty just about to take their dump, and somebody turned the porta potty over while they were in it.
Yeah, I like the chess one actually, because like there's less shit involved with the porta potty one. So, but that's just me.
So I just see somebody talking about fear porn. Guess what? If it's true, is it fearful porn?
Well, no, it's just it's
fear porn is something that's put out there that is meant to overly consume you into fear. I'm saying the raw facts. If you're afraid from it, you can't expect the facts to alter to your belief. It doesn't work that way. Truth does not succumb to your belief. It stays what it is.
Yeah, Ben Shapiro's got that great quote. Facts don't care about your feelings.
That's right. Facts don't care about your feelings.
And so, it's the response where, but also fear on a certain level is awareness, and it can be used to sort of when you put your hand in the fire for the first time, you become afraid of it, and you realize not to do that. There's that awareness type thing where it's not actual fear, and you've peed yourself and you can't move, and your mind's creating it, but there's that still awareness of like, don't run onto the freeway when there's trucks, or just don't run onto the freeway, because it's how many times you can tell the house is on fire. When I'll stop because I'm groping at strange little sentences, but I know what I mean, and I'm happy with that.
People have to start seeking their internal validation for who they are, what they are, as we're beginning to go through things that are truly going to affect your conscious awareness of who you are, what you are, and the bubble of reality that you're working in.
Yeah. For me, like, I'm starting to realize I'm in my own bubble because, I talk about this stuff globally, and you've heard Rev Radio, so you know what type of colors they play with. And yet I leave the house, catch a bus, and go buy food at the supermarket. And it's just your normal average day in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, and the world's not ending and all that type of stuff. And I hope I don't get the virus. I don't think I will. And if I do, whatever's happening is supposed to happen. That's sort of what I'm sensing. And mind you, I've been waiting a while. Something's supposed to happen, but then I realized I shouldn't wait, and I'm just living in the moment type thing. But it's fascinating to see it unfold in the periphery, because we create everything, and so what we see is the reflection of our consciousness. Is that?
Yes, a reflection of our consciousness. And we have to learn certain reflections are there to distract us from the true potency of our consciousness.
Yes.
And that we have to learn to choose that which we look at looks back at us.
Yeah.
Therefore, we have to choose during these corrosive times of coronavirus what we look at daily.
Yes, as well as the Schumann resonance in the last 7 days.
There's a tremendous potential for mass human awakening and awakening to happen even while people are getting sick.
Yes. Now, you mentioned with, say, like what the virus and our DNA, it just makes us sick. It doesn't change anything, because I know
the virus changes your DNA. Absolutely, it does. You have brand new antigens that will be passed on to your 7 future generations.
Oh, okay. So if you survive, the immunity is stronger.
Yes. Yeah. But the virus will do what? Mutate.
Mutate, as it does, because that's what things do. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, I got to let everyone go. This has been a really fun show. Thanks just so much for calling in, Monty.
No, that's all right. I just, as you said, any call is a teacher. So I was just listening to everyone else, and I didn't want to put my hand up because, I can talk to you anytime. Well,
I chose it.
Yeah. So, anyone listening is upset about that, it's all Andrew's fault. I just turned up. Once again, I was here drinking my coffee, and then apparently I'm awesome.
Why don't you tell everyone how to get a hold of you in your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is youtube.com/waferthinent, or you can just search Monty Dean, MONTYDEAN, and I'm on Twitter if you ever delve into that cesspool. I do it for comedy, at Real Monty Dean.
Great. And everybody, if you're looking for time and you want to spend some private time in sessions with me, contact MPA at Galactic Historian if you wish to have a private session. All right, everyone, we'll catch you next week.
Each different bubble of reality is true. A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma. Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail. Improvised. Mysterious. It's counter psychic intelligence. Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important? Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality. Hello. Let's create. Let's co-create. And let's change this world with love. No matter if you're from Alpha Centauri or Earth, we all began with the same birthing process. We live in a limited point of view. Living the mystical life daily is about striving for the unlimited point of view. Each day, each human being gets an infinite amount of choices. Living the mystical life daily is about facing obstacles and challenges. The level of awareness that you are working at means you have a responsibility to be equal with it. How does one truly let go of expectation? You can make the moment that you wake up to the moment you go to sleep sacred. The keys to success: choice, 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 and choice.